The city that I grew up in is not recognizable anymore, and I'm just going to go through a few of the things with very little explanation as to why I'm leaving. This is actually based on my actual real personal experience of living in LA for 23 years. I am not a transplant, I'm an actual Angelino. First of all, what used to be a fun, vibrant city has now become so monetary and hedonistic in culture. The extreme, lunatic, radical left is now the default culture here. It is suffocating and it is destroying the city.
Listen carefully to what she is saying, because unlike most of the people reacting to her on the panel, she says she actually grew up right here in Los Angeles, California. She's watched Los Angeles change from inside Los Angeles. Now, that doesn't automatically make every statement she makes factual, but it does mean her frustration is authentic. It's real, and she has every right to move if she believes that moving is best for her finances, her safety, or her future family. But here's where I disagree with the conclusion. You see, moving may change your address. It may change your monthly expenses. It may even improve your immediate quality of life. But moving does not reverse one law. Moving does not remove one regulation, and it does not hold one politician accountable. The folks in the panel are correctly diagnosing several symptoms, but in my opinion, their prescription is surrender. And when everybody who recognizes the problem leaves, tell me, who remains to challenge the people creating it? That's what we're going to talk about today. So like this video, subscribe to Wolf Kage Los Angeles, and share this with someone who thinks leaving California automatically solves the problem.
The taxes are insane. Even though I make really good money for my age, I cannot afford securely to move out on my own, nor would I want to, honestly, for safety reasons.
Her financial frustration is not imaginary. California home values are now more than twice the national median. Rents are approximately 40% higher than the national level. And California has the second lowest home ownership rate in the country. California also recorded a net domestic migration loss of approximately 216,000 people. And this was during 2024 through 2025. But here's the thing. California didn't suddenly become expensive because of the mountains. No. It wasn't caused by the Pacific Ocean, as some may think. And it certainly wasn't caused by the weather. This was produced by a stack of decisions. Housing restrictions, construction delays, permitting costs, taxes and fees, energy policies, insurance regulations, and of course, politicians continuously adding expenses without asking whether ordinary people can absorb them. Those decisions were made by human beings. It's important that you realize that. And decisions made by human beings can be challenged, can be repealed, can be replaced by other human beings. Stop speaking about government policy as though it's an earthquake or some permanent act of nature. It's not. It's not nature. It's legislation.
The crazy thing is Nashville is very expensive now. It's not California expensive, but for the South, it's getting up there. It's probably one of the most expensive cities in the South because there's been so many people that have moved from the West Coast, whether it's California or Colorado, Washington. They've moved out there. And now Nashville is actually getting pretty progressive. I mean, we've seen them protest and we've seen some of the craziness happening, out there in Nashville. So I don't understand for the life of me, these people, they get fed up with the far left progressive policies that have been implemented in LA or in other cities in the West Coast, and then they move south and vote the same exact way. Makes absolutely no sense.
This is the part of their discussion that almost reaches the real deep issue. You see, California, and this is very important, California is not simply another state. No. Because of its population, economy, entertainment industry, technology sector, and regulatory power, California frequently becomes a testing ground. A policy is introduced here. A company restructures its products to comply with it. Another state copies it. And guess what? Eventually, what began as a California rule becomes the practical standard for people who never voted for it. Federal law, for example, specifically allows other states to adopt California's vehicle emission standards. California privacy requirements have also influenced compliance practices and similar laws across several other states. So yes, you may move from Los Angeles to Nashville. Your house may be less expensive. Your gasoline may be less expensive. Your local government may currently operate differently. But that does not guarantee that the political ideas, corporate standards, and cultural narratives being developed here will remain here. You do not stop an experiment by abandoning the laboratory and leaving it completely unattended. You stop it by paying attention to what is being tested.
California is basically turning into, if it's not already, similar to a third world country where it's have and have nots. There's no real middle class there anymore. And it's really a state full of uber elites and rich folks, and everybody else just striving or trying to make it, from one day to the next. It's a sad place because it's a beautiful place. I haven't been to California in a long time.
Did you catch that? Did you catch that? California is supposedly becoming a third world country. California supposedly has no middle class. California is supposedly completely destroyed. And then, almost as an afterthought, I haven't been to California in a very, very long time. This is one of the biggest problems with national discussion about right here in California. People who do not live here frequently speak with more confidence about daily life here than the millions of folks who actually experience it. They see the same footage of Skid Row over and over, the same robberies, the same encampments, the same political arguments over and over and over again. And then they use those images to describe every neighborhood, every resident, and every experience across the entire state. California has some serious problems. No doubt about it. Housing affordability is a serious problem. Homelessness, serious problem. The declining possibility of middle-class home ownership, serious problem. But, calling the entire state a third world country is intellectually lazy. It gives the defenders of the establishment an easy way to ignore everything else you said. See, they can attack the exaggeration instead of answering the legitimate criticism. Be precise. California possesses tremendous resources and wealth. Tremendous. The problem is that ordinary residents increasingly cannot access the stability that wealth was supposed to create. That argument is hard to dismiss because it's true, it's measurable, and it's specific.
Having to be accountable for something forces you to mature. When you can live a life with low or no accountability, you are arresting your ability to mature.
There's truth in that statement. Accountability does produce maturity. But this is much bigger than liberals, conservatives, men, or women. The real Peter Pan syndrome in California is civic immaturity. It is the belief that politicians are our parents, that government is our guardian, that legislators are rulers, and that ordinary persons' only choices are to obey, complain, or to leave. That is not how this system is supposed to work. You do not work for your city council member. Your city council member works for you. You do not work for the legislature. The legislature works for you. You do not work for Governor Newsom or any governor. The governor works for you. But politicians begin acting like masters when the public stops behaving like the employer. When was the last time most people read a proposed bill? When was the last time they watched a committee hearing? When was the last time they knew how their representative voted before that representative appeared on television explaining the decision? We have been trained to consume politics as entertainment. Red team, blue team, our personality against their personality. Meanwhile, the policies that determine whether you can afford gasoline, whether you can afford rent, insurance, a house, are being written while everybody is arguing about personalities. That is civic adolescence.
They need to be more active and more vocal about what's going on out there, because they've been in that condition for a very long time, and there should have already been a movement to reverse the mess that's going on there.
Right.
And if there are many more out there who are suffering from the same mindset that she is, then the question is, what are they doing about it, and why haven't they done something about it?
That has to be the strongest statement, the strongest point made during the entire reaction. What are Californians doing about it? What are we doing about it? We recently saw the residents in Boyle Heights confront officials and company representatives over the warehouse fire, the rotting food, and the conditions that people were being expected to tolerate. What did the city do? They subsequently required a comprehensive cleanup plan and directed that millions of pounds of rotting material be removed within 45 days. You think they wanted to do that? No. That is what political pressure looks like. It doesn't always begin inside a television studio. Sometimes it begins with ordinary people like you and me refuse to sit quietly in a room and accept another carefully prepared explanation. Right now, we're also seeing increased federal scrutiny surrounding the finances and business dealings of Governor Gavin Newsom and his wife, or first partner. But in this case, accuracy matters here. See, they are reportedly under investigation. That does not mean fraud has been proven. There's a reason why I'm saying that. No public criminal charges or target letters have been announced in the reporting that I've reviewed. So we cannot say that someone has been committing or caught committing fraud before evidence establishes that. But we can say they are under scrutiny. Then we demand records. Then we demand answers. Then we demand transparency. You see, pressure built upon evidence is powerful, but pressure built upon rumors eventually collapses.
I think she made some good points, and I hope that if there's a Republican candidate out there running for office in her city, that they will take advantage of that video. It would save them a lot of money, and they will get high return. What better way to prove that they are mad by having somebody that's there talk about how mad they are?
Yep, but talking about how mad people are is not enough. Posting a video is still not enough. And leaving the state is not a political movement. A movement begins when residents know who represents them, when they read the agendas before the meeting instead of complaining after the vote, when they track legislation before it is signed, when they submit public comments, when they attend town halls, when they use public record requests, when they support candidates, recalls, and ballot measures based upon policy instead of identity. And most importantly, when they explain complicated legislation to their neighbors in language that normal people can understand. California is not beyond repair. Come on, guys. California is not some naturally occurring disaster. California is a beautiful place, being damaged by human decisions, public disengagement, and a manufactured illusion that everyone agrees with what is happening. They do not. The people walking in the streets do not all agree. I can assure you of that. The people paying rent do not all agree. The people buying gasoline, trying to open businesses, raising children and attempting to purchase homes do not all agree. But this agreement that remains silent has no political value. Move if you genuinely need to move. Protect your family. Protect your finances. Make the decision that is right for your life. But do not confuse escape with victory. Because if everyone who sees the problem leaves, the only people remaining inside the room will be the people designing it. The politicians and legislators are not your masters. They are your employees. You must understand that. And employees change their behavior when the employer finally begins paying attention. This is Wolf Cage, Los Angeles. Please like the video, subscribe. Please share this with someone who is considering leaving California. And tell me in the comments, is California still worth fighting for? Or do you believe it has already gone too far?